So, I often hear people talking about creating style. They talk about how to build in their style, how to find your own style, etc. However, throughout my time as a creating student, I haven't really come across a good meaning for what a style really is until recently. To me, style is a way of doing things. And what that means is, when you're imitating your favorite creator's style, you're imitating the way they do things. In this case, how they decorate a block or how they make gameplay. I've always had a strong affinity for Rob Top's style of gameplay. I like the specific ways he approached building his levels more than most people's, and I liked it very early on. So when I started making gameplay, I naturally emulated his concepts because to me, his style, his way of doing things, seemed like it produced good gameplay. In order to build like Rob Top, I had to examine his levels carefully. So what I tried to do is play his levels repeatedly and look for repeated things that he does that I could use in my own levels. And this is what I like to call vocabulary. As you play more levels, your creating vocabulary increases naturally. As you look at more levels, you start thinking, how can I decorate like this creator? Or you start seeing an object that a creator uses often and you think, how can I use that myself? These are examples of building your own vocabulary. All creators have their own vocabulary, and whatever vocabulary they use repeatedly in their levels is usually what people call their style. For example, if you look at one of my friends Cthulhu, you can see that in his most recent levels, his backgrounds sometimes have geometric shapes. This is part of his vocabulary. It's something that he uses often. These kinds of backgrounds with shapes are also associated with the modernistic style, because that vocabulary is an element of that style. So, if you want to build in a certain style, with a certain way of doing things, taking vocabulary from that style and finding the way that the creators do things is something that will help you. But I feel like there's a way to get an even deeper understanding of a creator's style. Anyone can copy and paste objects from other levels, but we all know that if it's not executed with the right mindset, you won't get far. So on an instinctual level, we know that vocabulary isn't the only defining factor of style. Even if you copied all the decoration ideas from a creator and copied all the gameplay maneuvers, you would still have no idea how to build the level. You wouldn't know the intricacies of all the different concepts that the creator uses. Every creator, apart from having comfortable vocabulary, also has a set of values, or ideas, about how their levels should be formed. These values are really what make a creator who they are. For example, if you talk about gameplay, a creator who values creating difficulty through timing more than straight flying will use timing-based gameplay more because they value it. When you think about what values a creator might have, you can really start to get inside your head, and you'll be able to think like them. That's one step closer to getting a grasp of their style. You can think how they would place a certain object or design a certain section. However, let's be real, unless the creator is outright telling us their values, we can't get a detailed description of what's inside their head. And that's where we have to use our own brain. Even though we can't know for sure what the creator values, we can try and interpret what they value by playing their levels. And this goes back to how we identify vocabulary. We look for common trends. For example, going back to Rob Top, when I was playing his levels, I noticed something unique about his ship gameplay. Most modern levels want the player going in a straight line. However, Rob almost always makes the player maneuver all around the screen, and in his demon levels he introduces new concepts with gravity portals or moving objects. It's almost like throughout all of his levels, he expects the player to have mastered a certain skill with the ship. This sort of way that he structures his ship sections is something I find admirable. Of course, we don't know if that's exactly what he's thinking when he's creating, but we don't really need to know. Why not? Because I don't need to know what Rob values in levels because I found something that I value in levels. I found something that I can incorporate into my own core values. And we can see this all the time with different creators. JonathanGD values longer levels. Circlunge values the fun of building and the teamwork aspect. Most core creators might value using a lot of objects so that they can show off or something. But it all goes back to what they value in levels, their ideas about how their creation should be formed. And it all goes back to their style, their way of doing things. As you can see, finding vocabulary and values in other people that you like is great. What's also great is using those to further your own understanding of yourself and what you value. And by finding what vocabulary you want to use too, you can find your own style. My name is Scioness, though you can call me Scones, and I hope you all have a happy time building.